All right, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody had a great Easter, spent some time with some loved ones, some family, and we're going to be discussing more traditional finance in this video. And if you want to go back and watch any other videos, please subscribe, leave a like button, comment on what you like, what you don't like, and let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about individual stocks, but there are going to be wide differences in which market they're in. And there's an importance in that is diversifying over different markets move at different times, things along those lines that allows us to want to be diversified in some of the top contenders in each individual market. So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to start it off with Plug Power. They got awarded a design contract for a 275 megawatt electrolyzer system in Quebec, Canada. That actually is of importance. Plug Power and hydrogen itself is a growing market. And with that being said, they are doing a lot of really good things and continuing being the top of the market when it comes to the hydrogen. Um, so we're going to take a look at chart here, and we came back up to our resistance at 241, which is a great thing to see. And with that being said, the lower resistance is 148, so anywhere within that range. So they are actively a buy for me. They're about to break up above from a buy to a hold, and that's exactly what I'm hoping they're going to do. I do see them coming back to their all-time highs this year. Um, so the 450 to $5 range, I think they're set up for success when it comes to that. All right, let's get into our second stock here, and the second stock is going to be Big Bear AI, BBAI. They do AI powered decision intelligence solutions for national security, supply chain management, digital identity markets. They're heavily into the airports, which obviously, if you're following any of the news, they are constantly battling with getting the TSA funded right now. And they are actually, even Trump is talking about possibly making the TSA private, airport security private, which I do think would be a long shot for BBAI, Big Bear. They're already in with some of the airports, so there may be additional airports possibly going to start utilizing them. We're just kind of waiting for some of the contracts to start paying off and seeing some growth from them. Right now, we are under my buy call for 393. We are hovering right around a resistance mark at 329, and we have a low of 256, which I think right now Big Bear is at AI for myself. I'm going to continue buying, DCAing in every week, just like normal, and go from there. I think they are going to be getting back upwards of $5 to $6 relatively soon. Once all this kind of breaks and the war and all that kind of stuff starts going, and we're re-entering earnings season, so that's also very important to understand when it comes to investing right now. You got earnings season coming up, and we're going to see if it's going to be good or bad, right? Some major plays going to be happening. So that's Big Bear. Rich Tech Robotics Class B, RR is what I'm going to call them. They currently have a lawsuit going against them for a pump and dump. They made it seem like they had a much more important um, contract working relationship with Microsoft than they actually do. Microsoft actually came on and said it was a common contract with them. Nothing really major pressing there. Well, that caused them to obviously skyrocket and then dump right after they sold a bunch of shares. So we're going to see how the um, lawsuit goes, and Plug Power is also in a lawsuit. I did forget to bring that up. just seconds ago. But this is $2, $2 chunk. Um, it's going to be great to see. I think they actually have a lot going on for them. All in all, they just have to be able to survive this. So it is high risk. However, they have a lot of potential, a lot of upside potential. That's exactly what I'm looking for here. Looking for the next Palantir. So we're right at my resistance mark. So right now I'm signaling buy. I think they got a lot of great things going on ahead of them, especially in the robotics field. I think that is going to be a part of the future, especially utilizing AI, and it's going to lower their costs and increase their productivity. Um, their actual low is going to be 78 cents. So if we continue falling from here, do not be surprised, especially with that lawsuit going on. I think RR is still a buy. I'm going to be lowering my cost average in on them and go from there. So moving on to Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab. What is going on with them? You got the IPO for SpaceX coming out, which is going to be stealing all of the news because it's going to be one of the largest IPOs ever in the history. And that's going to be interesting to see what actually happens. However, Rocket Lab is not just for SpaceX and the United States, they're also doing things in Europe, and they have a lot going on. It's, 85 successful missions, and we're talking about putting people on the moon and keeping them there, building a moon base, right? That is where I see them go. And I think that they're going to have a lot of growth ahead of them, especially if we're going to start putting multiple um, ships into space throughout every single year to do this moon base. And I am a buy for the long haul on Rocket Lab. I'm going to continue BCAing in. Granted, you could have got in on April 7th of 2025 for 1471, which would have been fantastic. You could have sold on January 16th for almost 100. They almost broke that $100 mark. It'd be interesting to see how where this actually goes to, but I think they got a lot of credibility behind them with how many um, successful missions that they've had, and I'm excited to see what they continue doing in the future. Let's take a look at that chart. We are right underneath that resistance mark. We just kind of bounced off of it. We'll see how we prevail on Monday, Tuesday when the market reopens and everything kind of gets settled. But right back here also would have been a great buying opportunity in the $30 to $40 range. Sadly, we missed out on that. But we did have this downfall here, and I picked up more shares as we uh, breached lower and went below some of our moving averages. And I'm hoping we're going to see come back up over this 50-day moving average. It may be a good opportunity to pull some profits if we get back up in this range. But time will tell when it comes to that. Long buy on them. SoFi, bringing up SoFi again. They got a lot going on with cryptocurrency. SoFi USD, they're trying to become a one-stop shop for fintech to cryptocurrency, which is what I told you I was going to bring up cryptocurrency again. I just did a cryptocurrency video kind of highlighting two different apps that I use and some cryptocurrency that I'm actively invested in. If you want to, you can go back and watch that one. And if there's any other cryptocurrency coins, tokens that you would like to discuss and cover, then feel free to leave it in the comments as well. But back to SoFi. So sales turnover, they're growing rapidly. This is great to see. I mean, you're talking 4 years ago, they over 4x their net sales, which is fantastic. Pretty much 1x every single year, right? Cost of goods is not increasing immensely. It did between 23 and 24, but they slowed down the cost of goods sold, which is fantastic. And their gross profit is increasing dramatically, which is fantastic to see. Net income is up. They've been positive the last 2 years, which is awesome. I do see a lot of plus side for SoFi, especially at this range. This is the upper resistance right now, 2708, and that is where I would go from a buy to hold. And possibly even start taking profits once we breach above that mark again. But we're actually towards that bottom resistance, which is 1245. So don't be scared if you see it actually trade lower. Um, we could breach all the way through that resistance. We haven't been through that resistance since April 24 of 2025. And that should be, yep, April 7th is the 52-week low, and 52-week high was 32.73. I do think SoFi has a lot of room of growth, and I think they're the innovator. They are blazing the trail for these other companies, and they are going to be the first ones there, which means they're going to be able to have less competition and hold more of the market share of this cryptocurrency involvement into nowadays everyday life in banking, which is going to be huge for them. I think they got a lot going good for themselves. They are an active buy. I'm going to continue buying. I'm hoping they keep going lower. I would love to see it. You can hit some of these day ranges. You know, in the morning, they're going to start down, set you a limit to be able to buy. Pick them up if they go down, and if they go up, well, guess what? You already hold some. So that's only going to be good things. Novo Disc. Once again, I talked about how we're going to be jumping around from market to market, and these are some of my top contenders in different markets. Obviously, Novo Disc, Nordisk is going to be healthcare, and I just wanted to show some of these sales turnover, how much they're actually been increasing year to year, and their net income increasing year to year. Um, it's fantastic. They also have some dividends that they pay, which is good to see. And their gross profit is also growing significantly year to year. That's exactly why I'm in on Novo, and I think they are going to do great things as well. Obviously, I'm only putting companies up there that I believe in and that I'm actually investing in. So, with that being said, obviously, I got a positive outlook on all of them. You do have a couple of things going on in the market. Trump wanting private insurance to take over on some of the Medicare. GLP ones, where are they going to fall out when it comes to Medicare? Are they going to continue paying for them? You may have a profit hit, but right now we are down big with NVO, especially from their all-time highs. I mean, we're cutting half from their 52-week, but we're talking at one point they were close to 150. They were about to breach that. I do see them coming back up to that $50 mark within this year. Hopefully, we continue going higher, but that's um, where my prediction is going to be is right above this resistance mark. I think we're going to see that within the next few months, but it all depends on what's going on in the news. However, if they keep performing, people are going to come back. Um, Once again, healthcare market, it's always going to be around, and sometimes it's a gainer, sometimes it's a loser. It lags behind other markets, very common, and then they have their moment in the spotlight, a year or two in the spotlight, and then they come crashing back down. But when they come crashing back down, that's our opportunity to pick them up, right? Moving into Elf. This is going to be a newer one for my channel, and there's reasons why, but they're increasing quarter to quarter pretty significantly. Their gross profit is actually a pretty big, growing very consistently, which is great to see. And their net income is back to where it was. Last quarter was a down quarter um, at the end of 2025 or third quarter of 2025, and they reproved themselves on the very last quarter of 2025, which is fantastic to see. I think they Elf Beauty does a lot of cosmetics, which is exactly why they're in there, along with like Nike things along those lines. Um, they're going to be the first movers to the upside. As soon as the market shows weakness, they sell off drastically. But when the market starts coming back, they are some of the first ones to start ramping up because we're going back into people having excess money, and they're able to afford the cosmetic products. They're able to afford the brand name luxury items, right? And they are not a luxury beauty brand by any means, but at the end of the day, they are in excess, right? They're not a part of most people's everyday needs. So they will see some gains. They're in the consumer staple market. And I believe that they actually have a lot of upside, especially with the numbers they've been putting up. We're right in the middle of that channel um, right now, which is absolutely fine. That keeps it as a buy for myself, and picking them up under this $80 mark essentially is a great buying opportunity, especially if we are down here where we're at now. I'm just going to keep on buying. We will see all-time highs again. It's too good of a growth style company that people are going to start jumping back in the market once the market starts bottoms and starts taking off. Consumer staples is always the first one to go. And then I wanted to bring up, and it's a totally different market, but rare earths, and technically it's information technology, but they deal primarily with real earths. They're also a micro cap. They were in the news all over the place, but they are doing big things, making rare earths in America. And right now, that's exactly what we need, especially with all this technology sector booming. We need to be able to support ourselves back in our own country and not rely on other countries such as China. They just made a move to secure 10% of rare earth offtake from Montana mine. They're building a plant. They're doing a bunch of things that are going to be hugely beneficial on them, and it's going to cost them money. They're not going to show profits right away. That's one thing that people need to understand. This is a 5 to 10 year play. It is not a overnight win. Of course, a little bit, especially in this micro cap, less than $1 billion, half a billion dollars cap. They fluctuate very huge. So in reality, it can be $20 tomorrow and come back down to 15 and then back to 10 within a couple of days because a small amount of money actually directly affects the share price much greater, which is why getting in on it early can set us up for a lot of success with this individual stock. So in April 8th, they were at 260 and they were at 2690 on March 4th. Now, I will say I did invest into Realloys previously, and I bought and sold because I was up almost 100% on my buy in. And so I sold, and then when they came back down, I started buying again. It's day trading. I took a risk with it. It paid off. I got lucky. That's all I can say. Do your own research. Buy um, great, rewarding companies at low risk and move forward. So right now we're under our resistance, my buy mark at the $10. So essentially $10, under $10, I'm going to continue picking up this stock. I definitely think people need to start looking into it over a gold buy or something along those lines. Rare earth is so important to Department of Defense, technology, and gold, however, does not have that same um, use case that these companies provide. Silver even has a use case when it comes to technology. Gold is more fashion and people use it to try to hedge against inflation, but this stock actually, in my opinion, has more potential than what gold does. I mean, percentage wise, obviously, gold can fluctuate from 5,000 to 6,000 over a period of a few weeks if that's the case. And alloys may go from $10 to $30. But when you actually look at the percentage, that's a much larger gain. Now, I'm not saying to go buy, put your whole life savings into realloys, but it is definitely something to look at to see if you want to put a small percentage of your portfolio. It is obviously going to be high risk, so make sure that it meets your risk appetite and you don't just blow all your money. That's the whole point of this video, is to cover different sectors, different markets, and some of the lead contenders that I'm betting on to be able to succeed in those markets, especially when we do eventually hit the bottom of this current downtrend and start to take off again. If you got any knowledge out of this video, if you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel to catch all my future videos and go back and watch some of the previous ones. There's great info in all of those as well. Buy points, sell points, stop losses, budgeting, anything that you want. I'm trying to make it all in one channel. So leave comments if you got any. If there's something you liked about the video, disliked about the video, leave a comment. All of it is going to matter to me in the long run. And have a great weekend, great holiday, and enjoy the time with the family.